Data Studio 360 makes connecting to data quick and easy, so you can concentrate on producing beautiful reports and sharing insights with your colleagues and customers. The first step in creating a new report is to select a data source. You can see the list of available data sources in the Add a Data Source panel. You can also create a new data source here. The Data Source tool shows you all the different connectors available. For this example, we'll create a Google Analytics data source. You can use your own account if you're following along with this video. Even if you don't have a Google Analytics account, the steps to connect to any type of data are essentially the same. Choose the type of connector you want, Google Analytics in this case, then select your account or file details. When you connect to your data, you'll see the list of fields available in the data source. Finally, add this data source to your report. You can now add charts to the report that use your new data source. All the components you add after this point will use the data source you've just created. Now, what if you want to add a chart to this report that uses a different data source? No problem. Just add the chart to the page and change the data source. Let's add a Google Sheets data source to this table. Just as before, you can select an existing data source you have access to or create a brand new one. If the data source you select isn't already added to the report, Data Studio will prompt you to add it. When you change data sources for an existing chart, as we just did, you'll need to select the dimensions and metrics you want for the new chart. Next, let's learn how to manage the data sources added to your reports. The View menu has an option to do just that. Note that you have to be in edit mode to access this menu. This dialog shows you the status of each data source that's been added by anyone who's edited this report, and whether it's actually being used by any of this report's components. Using this dialog, you can add back any data sources that have become detached from the report. For example, this can happen if the user who originally added the data source leaves your company and loses their access to the data. You can also remove a data source from a report. If a component is using that data source, it won't be able to access any data. You should then either delete that component or select a different data source for it, just as you did before. Another way to interact with data sources is to manage the reports that you've added them to. You can do this by using the Data Sources tool. Locate the data source you want to manage, and then bring up the Manage Added Reports dialog. This dialog shows you all the reports that you've added to this data source. If there is a problem with the connection, or if you want to remove the data source from that report, you can do that here. Note that here you only see the data sources you personally have added to reports. You won't see any reports added by other users. To learn more about managing data sources, visit the Help Center.